Is that you, Jess? Come on up to the table, please. Mostly music. Good morning. What's the rest of you of most is music?
Yeah, sometimes we talk about podcasts and just other things to do with music.
Right, and your colleague's name? Cameron. Welcome, Cameron. And to you, Jess, we're waiting for Nigel, but we might just carry on because he won't be far away. So, talk to us about your application.
Thank you. So a really brief introduction to Mostly Music is that we call ourselves the local gig guide, the local guide to music. We've been going for 3 years, and every week we publish a gig guide, which is publishing live music events that are happening between Paekakariki and Himatangi. And we've been doing it for 3 years. We've listed 1,300 gigs. We've had 18,000 people to our website to view the gig guide, and we've got more than 600 people in our database. So that's what we've been doing for the last 3 years, and now we feel like there's a bit of momentum, and we'd like to do things in our community to create more places and more things for musicians to get involved in, and for the general public to experience live music and the arts and creativity in our communities. So what we have proposed is a live music event series, starting with a winter series. So in the quieter months, it would be hosted in indoor venues, exploring diverse genres, because we stand for celebrating all music genres, not just anything in particular. And I also should mention that since the application, we have actually applied for the Major Events Fund as well, to look to next year to hopefully put on a music festival. So we've actually revisited this application and tried to simplify it a little bit. Instead of doing multi-venues across Kapiti, we thought we'd start with one venue, do the same number of events, and celebrate different genres, but almost kind of test the concept and run it as a pilot. And hopefully what that will mean is that it gets more popular, and then next year and the years to follow, we've got more interest and we can up the ante a little bit. So the budget is still the same. I've kind of massaged the things, and I'm happy to present another spreadsheet showing my thinking, but it's just kind of, some venues have fewer seats available and some have more. So it's actually all balanced out in the end. The money that we're asking for is actually only enough to cover the artists' fees. So what we're counting on is that we can generate enough money through ticket sales to cover the cost of organising, planning and marketing and promoting the series. And that means that all of the groundwork is taken on by us as a entity, and we take on the risk. But that's something that we've become quite familiar with, hasn't it? And yeah, we just want this to be a regular, ongoing thing. We have put so much into our community because Cam and I are both musicians. We really believe in the quality of musicians and events in this area, and we just want to celebrate it and make more things happen.
Great. Well, questions for these two? Anybody?
Yes, so, hey, thanks. Sounds like a great initiative. Hey, where's the venue? Where do you envisage the venue would be?
So we have a partnership with the Bond Store.
Bond Store?
Yes. For those unfamiliar, they have recently, more than a year ago, relocated to Birmingham Street. So they've got their gin distillery there. And we have, since October last year, been partnering with them to do a Saturday Sounds series. And then we ran the music for their block party. So we've got a really good relationship with them, and they've basically given us free rein of what do we need to make this a great music experience, which is really great.
Yeah, that's really good. And you have several events, I see, which is good, not just one?
That's true, yes.
That's great.
We plan to run one every month, starting May, hopefully.
Hey, and you are musicians.
Yes.
What do you play? What sort of...
I'm a jazz vocalist.
Jazz vocalist, wow.
And I dabble in keys and guitar, and Cam's a drummer.
Drummer, yeah, okay. We've got a flute player here.
We do. Hi, Michelle.
Brilliant, thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Kia ora, my name's Patu Paere here. I just wanted to firstly give you a massive mihi for just the genre inclusivity thing, because I just think that that's so massive, and I think that that's something that this region really needs. I was just wondering if you yet know what the dates would be, but also just if you have musicians lined up already, and do you know what genres will be included this year?
Yes, we are in discussions already because I am thinking positively about potentially going ahead with this. So Cam and I are both quite well connected in a vast number of genres, and so we are in discussions with classical, blues, contemporary pop, jazz. What have I missed? Not quite rock, but kind of folk, alt country. I mean, genres is so hard to do. There's 1,300 genres listed on Wikipedia. And what we did right at the start of creating Mostly Music is we created genre categories so that we could try and present a diversity, but also try and make sure that we are capturing things across genres. So we've created 4 categories, which is so not enough to cover everything, but we've tried to make those broad to capture everything that happens and that of the events that come to Kapiti, because it's quite diverse.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Any further questions? Nigel?
Yeah, congratulate. I have to say this was my top ranked of all the proposals. I thought this was fantastic, very exciting for the future. So in terms of the potential growth of this, do you see this being able to grow?
Can I recap a little bit, because I think Nigel missed a little bit at the start. The original proposal, Nigel, was to do a series across multiple venues, and since then we've applied for the Major Events Fund, which means I've revisited this application and I've tried to simplify it, because I think that this concept still stands, but what I'd love to see is that it's a wintertime, quieter months kind of thing, initiative that can happen year on year in a shorter period of time, so maybe starting May, ending November, something like that. And so what that means is we've started by going, hopefully we can sell 50 tickets per event, and it would be at the Bond store, and then with the view to next year and beyond increasing, because hopefully we've got a bit more interest and people know that it's a series that's coming.
Yeah.
So
getting
yes,
it
an answer
started
to your
is key,
question.
Yeah. No, fantastic.
Michelle?
Yes, I did. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, you've done it. Congratulations. Yeah, really well planned out. No doubt about it. You've actually answered some of my slight questions. Particularly, I applaud that you decided one venue to start. Years ago, before you were born probably almost, since I've lived up here, I used to do once a week at the waterfront, a jazz. And what happened is that if you build it, they will come. So people would ring me and say, can I play? And I planned it. What I discovered out of that experience after a year of doing it, which was really successful, that once a week was too much. So, and that's a good thing. I'm just handing that on as a
Thank
piece
you.
of information.
Yeah.
Even though we had an amazing support structure, the locals didn't want it anymore. And I think that winter thing is a really, really good idea. Summer people, oh no, they did come because it was outside. It was in lunchtime and family orientated. I'm still curious about who are you talking about, because you've got a really good layout, but I don't see any names.
No.
And I reacted a little bit to that because I would like to know, and who are you talking to at this early stage?
Okay, so I didn't want to do names because I was too scared to plant names and then have to remove them off the
Plant names
list.
is good. No, it's a good thing to do.
Okay. So we are in discussions with Nick Granville, Seth Boy, who is quite a young but very incredible jazz bassist. He's also the bass tutor at NZSM. We are talking to, come on brain, Weather Machine, Slater Smith. He's kind of alt country. Taylor, she's a young up-and-coming singer-songwriter who's just been performing with Fly My Pretties in Wellington and around the country. Wish I'd written those down.
That's all right. That's sort of giving me
Oh.
the flavour of what you're talking about.
Thank you. Yeah, Moth Quartet. So that's an ensemble of 3 previous composers in residence at the New Zealand School of Music: Selena Fisher, Elliot Vaughan, and Briar Prastiti.
Oh, wow.
She's amazing.
Yeah, lovely.
So the thing is that you're asking for this little committee, which we don't have a lot of money, quite a high figure, and I can see what, you've tried to really lay it out, which you have. But if you didn't get the full funding, how does that affect you? Now that you're considering going down to the Bond Street, which is great, at 50 tickets, that kind of slightly more contained, and I applaud that for you to grow, I really do.
Is that lady there?
How would
Mr.
it
Paul?
affect you if you didn't get the full 5 that you're asking for?
To be frank,
Yeah.
it means that we wouldn't get paid because we are, well, I'm a communication strategist by trade, and we've set mostly music up from the ground up with nothing. This is the first time we've asked for
Tragically,
funding.
we all have to do it exactly that way, and it's not fair.
I
that it's
understand
fair.
that, but it's also fair to try and generate an income for things that you are
course.
doing,
Absolutely.
for
But I
things
mean,
that
would
should
you
be paid.
could you cast your net wider? Is what I'm saying. There are other places up here that if you can't get full funding here, I don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
But have you thought outside that square and go, okay, there's other organisations who could help potentially?
We have previously applied for 2 things through Creative New Zealand and were declined. So,
Same.
yeah. So I haven't considered yet whether we'd do something like a sponsorship. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about that. But I think what I would say is that, to be honest, we'd probably just still go ahead and do it because I really believe in the power of momentum and the fact that it would generate something, and hopefully, we could backfill that. It's just that it feels uncomfortable taking on the risk, personally, financially.
And if I can just interject, I think it also affects the finances available to us, whether it's from council or our own money or from somewhere else. It affects the quality of musicians that we're able to bring on board as well, because they all need to be paid.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I know.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you from back in the 50-day days. So
There we go.
yeah, so everybody needs to be paid. Plumbers need to be paid. You don't ask the plumber.
I know. That's
The
my
good old
argument.
plumbing
I
anecdote.
charge you-
How many plumbers come out at 10 o'clock on a Christmas Eve to play for $10?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And how good is that plumber? They charge you $10.
That's right.
Right.
Thank you, Grant.
Anybody got any further questions? I've got a couple, Jess. When I read your application, and that's why I really appreciated hearing what you said when you first sat down,
Yeah.
that you've had a rethink. Because my feeling when I read this is that you're not quite ready for this.
I thought that too.
You, at that time, and I know things have changed, 6 venues, 6 events, 6 genres. Looking at your event management costs, that split out to about $850 per gig, which is not a lot of money to run a big gig for yourselves. No tech costs shown, no venue costs for 4 out of the 6. There were lots of gaps and things missing. No sound system, no venue setup, no wet weather, no allowance for ticketing. I thought these people aren't quite ready, and I looked again at the application, and I understand about the gig guide, which is fantastic in itself. In fact, in some ways, I wish I was sitting here listening to an application to push the gig guide, because I think it's marvellous. But you weren't ready for this, I felt, and you yourselves have now said you're having a rethink, and so you're concentrating the series into one venue, and you'll run all 6 genres within one space, which will add a lot of savings. Can you
I
add
agree.
savings? I suppose you can.
Well,
You know what I mean? It'll
efficiencies.
save you a lot of money. So I'm very encouraged by that. And you'll know about the Major Events Fund in mid-June, something like that. Is that right?
I hope so, yeah.
But
yeah.
and that applies to next year.
It does,
And
yes.
your revised thinking in terms of this application is for this year. Is that right?
That's true.
And
yes.
when would that take place?
Well, hopefully we're going to get someone starting in May, but it's going to be June. We've got a definite for June, so it'll be June, August, September through to October.
Right, right.
June, July. I missed July.
I suppose the difficulty for this committee is you're now really applying for an event that we can't see. because it's not the subject of your application. So I don't quite know how we can look at the new kind of event you're looking at. You say the budget's the same? It just applies to one venue. Is that, have I got that right?
That's true, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
nothing has actually changed except for
Except for the
the
fact you've
number of
compressed.
venues. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That helps. All right. Thank you. That's all I have. Anybody else got any questions?
Just a quick, venues are one of the biggest killers of the arts in Kapiti, the cost of them, and so the cost of this is it's a reasonable cost at Bond Store, right?
Well, they're not charging a venue fee.
It's very
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We've got a really good partnership with them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Could I also add that the Grant, you mentioned that applying for something like this, you wish that we'd applied for something to support the gig guide. We did try and do that and were told, I can't remember who it was or the team, but that because that wasn't a standalone event or a thing that happened within a boundary, that we should develop an idea. That
Okay. Did that
to
come
be-
from this committee
not
structure?
this committee, no.
Right.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the gig guide is an ongoing thing,
Yes.
then that wouldn't be considered for this kind of grant, which is why we put our heads together and tried to think of something
Yeah.
that could help us grow the profile
Yeah.
overall of Mostly Music and the gig guide, so it all kind of feeds into each other.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I've had just enough contact with music. I'm not a musician, but I've had just enough contact with musicians to know that it is hard to get gigs, and nothing works better for a musician than to get gigs. So I think the work you're doing is incredibly important.
Thank you.
And I think with your knowledge gained by the gig guide and your networks, you are well placed to start something. As I say, I just felt you weren't quite ready, and you've obviously had the same sorts of thoughts. Anybody else got any questions? Or Michelle, one more.
Nick Granville and I are old partners in crime, decades of partners in crime, and he's an amazing guitarist. We all know that if you know who he is. But he isn't Kapiti. Would you consider focusing initially on the Kapiti thing before you brought in outsiders? And
Well,
I'm
that's
not
what-
trying to be rude about
Yeah,
this.
no, that's right. Fair question, because we focus on local music. That's
I
what
know
we're
you do.
that's
You
what
do
we
great- you
stand
do a
for.
good job.
We started by doing with a focus on local music last year. That was our partnership pilot program with the Bond Store. We ran it from October to December, and it was a challenge for a number of reasons, which I'd love to talk to you about sometime, Michelle.
Personally, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
If that's
Um,
okay for me to say that in the committee.
Michelle, when have you ever asked that question?
Just then.
Because everyone's got an opinion and things about that. We found it really hard to get people along to that because some local musicians are playing very often around town. So I wasn't confident that we could have a local musician in at a ticketed event and get people to pay when they can go and see them for free down the road the next weekend.
And that ties into what you were saying about doing
Yeah.
a weekly thing at the waterfront.
The other,
The locals don't want to go because
well, they
it's
did
in-
though. They actually did because I worked bloody hard on it, and that's years ago. But the other person I'd advise you to talk to actually is Jan Bolwell, who last year we helped her, and I had to leave the room because I was in it. But she did a very similar thing, targeted it as Kapiti celebs, and she did her method of how she goes is I would really advise you talk to her.
Okay,
She
thank you.
She's got something that she could, I think, offer you.
Great.
Really.
Okay, anybody else?
Taken up
Jess?
way too much time.
No, you're fine. Thank you for coming in, Jess. Cameron?
you.
Okay,
Good luck.
bye for now.
Thank you.
All right, good to know. All right. Our next applicant's zooming in online, and we have him there. And this is it Mauricio or Mauricio? Mauricio. Mauricio.
Oh, there we are, number
So let's see when we can see a picture of him.
Mauricio.
No, it's not Io, it's Mauricio, I think.
Maurizio.
No, it's not. It's Mauricio.
So,
There's no other I before the O.
no, but his accent.
Well, I have typed it in wrong on my notes, so I shall apologise.
Number 11.
Benica.
And what's this one? Oh, I want him to
Born in
do this.
Brazil and now lives in the
I think
Hawke's
this
Bay.
is amazing.
Great.
When was Hester due? She's due at 11:50.
Down here.
Yeah. It's like the Weavers.
Narita will take your advice. We could do Hester next if you can't get.
You can't
They've got him?
swing a cat
Okay.
without hitting a Weaver
I bring
emoji.
Tony McKnight down here to teach locals.
It's running about 10 minutes late, Hester.
Does that then apply to? Would that then apply to the
He's in.
garage wall thing? Because the artist.
Do we get a picture?
Like, do you feel?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone paints Theo as a local. He's not local. He's been living in Tauranga for the last
Yeah.
10 years.
But I bring down Tony McKnight. It's my third year I'm going to be bringing him down to teach locals. So,
I do
so I
admire
don't
the way
always
you
agree
guys
with
are
you.
so good at this
it
stuff.
depends. If there's nobody here to do it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even
But
so,
I've never heard of vinyl.
you're running 3
mosaic
devices
before.
simultaneously, Kate.
Seriously?
I mean, I
did the same about the people in Auckland. I've done the same with exactly what you're saying. I'm going,
Yeah, you
I
gotta
can't
get
run this because. So I know. That's when I didn't feel the same way.
Because it's a comparative analysis with all these things, right?
Oh, of
if you
course,
go,
of course.
Okay, let's give these guys
I didn't give as high a mark.
whatever. I gave them a 0. Well,
Yeah.
I
I know.
No, I didn't give anybody a 0.
No, but you're quite good at low marking. I know you are.
The lowest I gave anybody was a 9.
I got a 10.
I think my last like 13.
I got a 10 this year. That's the first time I've always got a
Because
10.
they're all worthwhile projects.
Exactly.
I mean, they are.
Yes.
It's just,
But there's only 30,000 for 45.
and it's a
yeah.
contestable
Yeah.
fund. And for me, the primary priority is local.
The very reasons that he said I do because it wasn't prepared.
Would you then like? How do you think? I'm just curious. Like, how do you think that then comes into the, in other words, Otaki thing when the whole premise is that every single artist isn't local?
I did struggle with that, I have to say. I didn't realise that. I didn't realise it
Do you think-
until she said it.
No, see, part of it is that the people who are doing it are local. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
The
so
whole,
it's-
yeah.
so-
Okay.
So the roots of the tree are here.
Right, people, we're having some technical difficulties with Mauricio, so we'll ask Hester to come forward, and we'll speak with her, and then we'll go back to Mauricio after that. Hester Paul. Welcome from Wellington. Yes. Hello. You're the architect, is that right? Have I got that right? Ah,
Yep. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. So away you go, Hester.
Kia ora koutou. Yeah, my name is Hester Paul. My application this morning is for organising and facilitating dementia-friendly art classes hosted at Mahara Gallery with the support of Dementia Wellington. So this idea really came about as my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's, and she is a keen artist, and unfortunately she wasn't able to continue with the art classes she had been doing. Part of the symptoms of having dementia is a lack of wanting to be out in social situations, and I looked and I assumed there would be classes within the community already that I could just sign her up for. And unfortunately, I couldn't find anything suitable. I spoke with Dementia Wellington and with Toi Mahara, and they were both really enthusiastic. Unfortunately, there was no funding out there. Toi Mahara is already pretty stretched, but they were really supportive of trying to facilitate and organise something. My background is as an architect, and I have a strong interest in arts. I studied art history at both Otago University and at Victoria, quite a long time ago. And I have an opportunity at the moment to volunteer my time, and I've started, it actually begins this week, 6-week trial run of these dementia-friendly art classes at Toi Mahara. I've worked with Dementia Wellington, and we have I think it's 8 registered people attending tomorrow's session, and they'll run from 10:30 until 12:30. And there are precedents around Aotearoa around the world where art therapy is, it's not a new concept. Christchurch Art Gallery has been running a program called Alzheimer's for decades, for over 10 years, and it's really, really popular. They have a waiting list, and when someone is no longer able to continue, that person gets moved onto the list. And it's, I just think it's really important for this part of the community to be out in a social situation, and also people that have an interest in the creative world to be able to continue that. There's lots of research into the benefits of art therapy for everyone, but especially for the slowing down of cognitive decline. That's my. So the funding application is specifically for term 3. So I'll be volunteering this term 2, to run 6 classes. The funding application is for term 3, where I'm proposing a 10-week program. It'll be a similar Wednesday morning, and the funding is to fund an artist, a local artist ideally, who can run the classes, and also for resources, art supplies, and tea, coffee, biscuits, which we'll have afterwards. So the application, I can't remember the figure I put actually. I think it's $2,000. And I listed out what that was for. My ultimate goal is that this will become a permanent program hosted at Mahara Gallery for the Kapiti Coast community. And that, I don't expect that I'll be able to come here every term and get new funding, but the Alzheimer's one is funded through Ryman Healthcare. There's Somerset, for example, could be someone who could support it going forward, but we really need to establish it and show that it's successful before we can approach. That's my feeling anyway. Yeah.
Thank you. Questions for Hester? Has anybody got any questions for Hester?
Yep.
Nigel?
Hester, so have Mahara, have they confirmed for the next term?
Yes, they're well on board for it and supporting it. Yes.
Okay, and the other one I wondered about is, there's degrees of dementia too, of course, but is there a requirement to have specialised care people?
So what we're focusing on, and this is through the help of the dementia advisors, is people with early onset dementia. So people who are living in the community, and that's really to provide like respite for their carers as well. So say, for example, my mother-in-law, she still lives at home with my father-in-law, and he is a full-time carer. So he will be able to bring her in and go off and do something for an hour and a half and have that time, which is really important. It's not for people who are, in those later stages of dementia. And that's not what I'm targeting, because I have some experience working with people with dementia, but a very small amount. We've done some training with Dementia Wellington. I would support if a supporter wants to stay in the class and be present, then that would absolutely be fine. But I think the majority of people we have on the list will be still living pretty independently in the community. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've reached the age where I can't get early onset dementia. Yeah. So, which is a bonus. There is a group called Home for All, which we funded last week. Home for All is based in Raumati, and they care for people with dementia, and sounds like a similar category to yourself.
Oh, right. Okay, I haven't heard of them.
So they might be worth having a chat to, just as a facility there, or as part of this as well.
So they're doing a similar art. Oh.
Well, yes and no. They provide a broader facility, and they do interesting things, but not necessarily what you're planning. They're doing different stuff, but it could be, there might be some synergies there.
Is it a retirement home, or is it?
No, it's just it's a day. Basically, it's a day facility. People come and stay there for the day, and then they go back home.
And is it free to people in the community, or do they?
No, it's $150.
See, mine, I think it's really important that it's accessible to everyone. That's why I'm applying for this funding, and it would be a completely free thing.
By the way, I just will quickly say
But that's
my,
interesting.
my initial assessment has changed. There's the value of having people coming in and able to speak to their application. So yes, I'm convinced. So good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Hester, you've done a lot of work, haven't you? You've been triggered by your own personal circumstances. You've come up with a concept. You found a venue. You've gone to Dementia New Zealand or Dementia Wellington, and they refer people to you. So you're also volunteering with your own time to be the presenter initially to prove the concept.
Yeah.
So I just want to note that I think you've done very well to get as far as you have.
Thank you.
And what I think I read was that there is clinical evidence to suggest these activities do really help. I think I've got that right, haven't I?
That's right,
But,
yeah. And there's actually something called Mind Art, which is a Massey University study at the moment,
Yeah.
based in Wellington around this, which has been quite
Yeah.
interesting.
And your parents-in-law are Kapiti residents. Is that
Yes,
why
they are in
you've chosen
Waikanae.
to do it up here?
Yeah.
Because you live in Wellington. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think it's pretty amazing what you're doing, and there is no money in this for you, is there? You're not seeking any?
No,
You're going
I
to have
mean-
other artists deliver the program?
Yeah, if I can't find someone suitable, I will step in and do it. But
Yes.
my ultimate goal is to find someone suitable who
Yes.
is in the Kapiti region that can.
Yes, and to find the funders to match, to wind this clock up
Yeah.
and let it run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can go all out throughout Aotearoa.
Has anybody got any
I think it's an
further?
important thing. To
Yeah,
have.
just one thanks, Grant. Yeah, Hester, thanks for bringing this initiative up to the Kapiti Coast for us.
Yeah.
Takes a good architect to do that. Hey, have you been in touch with?
Do you know any good architects, Rob?
Just got one here.
You know,
Do you know? Have you been in touch with Ryman's Parkwoods?
I actually have a colleague who I ran into yesterday who works at Somerset in the
Excellent.
architectural division, and I
Yes.
did mention it to him, and I need to email him to put him in touch. Be
Great.
in touch.
It's really a seeding fund to get you going, and
It
it's the
is,
ongoing
yeah,
thing that
yeah,
counts,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
really great. Thank
yeah.
you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was actually going
Michelle.
to ask exactly the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it occurred to me going, it's reeking of there's some very wealthy homes out there.
Yes,
And what you're
yes,
trying to
absolutely,
do. So I
yeah.
was going to ask exactly the same
Yeah,
thing.
I
and you-
think
and you said it.
long term that would be
No harm
ideal.
knocking on doors and asking for help.
Yeah.
Because they're the
Yeah.
ones who everybody pays a lot of money to. So sometimes they could give some back to something like what you're doing. Which
Absolutely,
I think is
and-
amazing.
And they will see the recruitment potential, obviously,
Amazing.
yes.
if their posters on the wall.
That's
then,
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
But in the meantime, I think it is important to establish it. That's why I've come to you. Yeah.
So you've come up from Wellington today just for this?
I have, yes.
Great.
Good
Well,
on
thank
you.
you very much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Don't get a speeding ticket going home.
No.
Good on you. Fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
Good luck.
Now, what we're wanting is Mr. Mauricio to join us on Zoom. So can we bring him up if he's available?
Hello?
Hello, is it Mauricio? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's me.
That's good. And you're from Brazil and you live in Hawke's Bay.
That's correct.
Here we are. We can see your face now. Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi,
For,
everyone. Sorry
Thank-
for the technical issue. I don't know what happened there, but we are up and running. I'm on my phone now, so
look, that's fine. We've all read your application, so this is your chance to talk to us. Tell us a bit more about what you'd like to do. Where you go.
yeah, okay. So the adhesive vinyl mosaic workshop. It's a fun workshop that can go from 10 years old to 100 years old. So can be for all family. I've been running this workshop for quite some time, but from last year and now, I've been touring around New Zealand with this workshop, and then when I saw the funds for Kapiti Coast, I apply with you guys to hope get a chance to run this workshop for the community over there. So the vinyl, the adhesive vinyl, the media, it's a really fun, cool media to work with. It's pretty much is the same stuff that signage company uses for, any signage that you see in buildings, vehicle wraps, any car you see driving around with logos and images. That's all adhesive vinyl. So I kind of like trying to show people another use, creating art using the vinyl, and the cool thing about this workshop is that people, they don't need to know how to paint, how to draw. They can just join in. It's a hands-on, and from beginning to the end of the workshop, they will finish this composition, this artwork, and they can take home, they can frame and have in their walls, and just having fun creating and playing with this wonderful media.
Yeah, well, that's all. That's great. It's all very clear. Has anybody got any questions for Mauricio? Michelle?
Hi, Mauricio.
Hi, Michelle.
Do you by any chance have I'm personally really interested to see what vinyl mosaicing is. I do a dabble in mosaicing, that's with ceramics. I'm curious,
Yeah.
do you have a little picture of something that you can show? Because I can't visualize it and I'm curious.
His
Yes,
attachments
okay.
had child work. His attachments that he
I
gave
don't know
us.
how big is the
I'm sorry,
screen there
apologies.
on your side,
Oh, look at
but
that.
I'm
It's
I'm
great.
standing here
Perfect.
on my studio, and that's all my paintings here. That's my production wall, but I have this nice one here. That's adhesive vinyl,
Beautiful. That tells me.
and
Thank you very
it's
much.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to see. Sorry, Grant, I didn't see the attachment.
No, that's okay. No. Benicio, you did attach some work from children too, to your application. I think we saw pictures of them working at the desks and things, so that was good.
Yes, that's correct. Also, if you go to my Instagram, you can see some videos. Like I run, just do some camera showing the action, and then after I do some editing, and then I do all the social media. So I've done with the classes that I had in Invercargill, Hastings. This weekend now I'm running in Napier, and by the end of May I'm running in Manawatu as well. So as I said, I'm just spreading around this workshop, and yeah.
So you'll do 40 children in Kapiti Coast in your sessions, and it's 2 days.
So
Will you stay over, or do you have to drive back to the Hawke's Bay between?
on my application, I normally add the costs for staying there. So
Yep.
normally I find an accommodation around,
Right.
and yeah. But I have a cousin of mine. He lives in Waikanai,
Right.
and I could talk to him to stay with him as well.
Yes. All right. Well, I mean, it sounds very successful. How many years have you been doing this particular workshop?
Everything started back in the day. I've been in New Zealand for 20 years now. And
20?
Back in, 20 years. Sorry about my accent. Is that I have 3 kids and I just speak Portuguese with them, and my wife, she's Kiwi and she does the English. So every day I'm speaking Portuguese, so my accent's not gonna
Your accent's
go
fine.
anywhere.
We can understand you perfectly. That's perfectly fine. Has anybody got
that's
any
good.
further questions for Amicio? All right. Thank you for talking to us. We've got all the information, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye for
Thanks
now.
for your time. Okay, cheers. Bye.
Right. So we are running fraction overtime, and we're looking for Delina on Zoom as well, and Delina's there. Great, so we have our next person already. Can you hear me, Delina? You can. You put your thumbs up, but I can't hear you. Can you say something? Can you? You can't hear me, can you? No.
Can you hear me now?
Ah, that's better. Yes.
Oh yes, thank you. I
We
think I
can
just
hear you
needed
now.
to be
Yes.
allowed to unmute.
Yes, that's great. All right, Betsy and Mana Productions, Delina, away you go. Tell us more about your project.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā waka, e ngā maunga, e ngā awa, e ngā mate, e ngā iwi hurinoa i te whenua nei, tēnā koutou katoa. He uri ahau no Ngāti Tūkorihe me Ngāti Raukawa Hoki, ko Delina Wehi Peihana tōku ingoa. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Delina Wehi Peihana. I'm a dance artist, choreographer, producer, and festival director. And thank you very much for the opportunity to kōrero with you about my application. In July, I'm presenting a new artwork called Hina at Māori Land Hub, and my application is towards holding community engagement arts activities alongside the artwork. So my vision is for all in the community to be connected to this place, its histories, its stories, to feel a sense of belonging and well-being through experiencing an artwork that moves their senses, awes with its beauty, and is a call to action to look after the beautiful environment of the Kapiti region. So Hina is a digital dance installation, so a film with a performance component, and it's inspired by the local wetland restoration project Te Hakari Wetlands at Kuku Beach. So I've created and filmed at the Te Hakari Wetlands at Kuku Beach and the Otaki Awa. And the Hina creative team is led by myself, my collaborator, the Kaitahu Arts Laureate choreographer and video artist Louise Portiki Bryant. And we're working with a team of wahine Māori from Ngāti Raukawa and Ngāti Tūkorihe, which includes Jane and Emily Hakaraya, Tui, Matira Ranupira Ransfield, and Marire running Koka. The local environmental scientists and researchers and my whanaunga, Dr. Huhana Smith, Dr. Aroha Spinks, and Moira Potama are the backbone of this project.
Has she frozen? Or
The inspiration, their environmental vision through the work. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, you're going well. Keep going.
Okay, great. I'm just, I'm in Melbourne, so I haven't, my Wi-Fi sometimes is a bit tricky in this hotel. I'll carry on. So Hina as a project is using creativity to tell a story of the power of returning to ancestral land, restoring the land, returning to your whenua, returning to your whakapapa and te mātauranga Māori to draw strength to navigate life in today's world. It's really important to me to create opportunities for deeper engagement with the artwork through participatory arts experiences. So support from Kapiti Coast creative communities will enable me to host an artist talk with our collaborators to share a deeper understanding with audience about the work and give them work that's happening out at Te Hakari Wetlands, talk about the arts project. And I'm also going to run a weaving workshop, and this workshop will take place inside the exhibition and performance space alongside the film. So by weaving together knowledge, stories, and skills, these events will create a living, participatory arts experience that I hope will strengthen community ties, raise awareness about the restoration work that's happening on the whenua, reflect local mana whenua perspectives, and affirm the ongoing relationship between cultural practice, ngā toi Māori, the Māori arts, and environmental and community well-being. And that's the end of my presentation. I welcome any questions. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
No, it's very clear. Wonderful. Questions? Anybody? Questions for Delina? Michelle?
Hi. Hello there. Congratulations. Anyone who mentions dance gets my immediate attention. I'm a failed, no, not failed, I dance now, in my 60s. I'm useless and I love it. and I have composed it as a composed for contemporary dance and film dance as well. I'm interested in your digital dance installation. I didn't quite understand where, how, and when. I love the sound of that.
So it's happening at the Māori Land Hub, and so we've created a essentially kind of a film project that will have an interactive performance. So I'll be dancing live in the project alongside my daughter, who's a kapahaka performer, Hui Rawiri, who was on the Te Matatini stage this year, and an elder, Tui, who will be I guess, a vocal element in doing some kapahaka performance as well. And so I guess the actual, we haven't quite finished the film, but it will be probably around 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then we'll be performing alongside it.
Wow.
So the idea is that probably across a day, we'll open the installation so the digital film can run throughout the day.
Yep.
And we'll have activities happening in there. So we'll probably have an opening. We'll have the weaving workshop.
Yep.
We'll have an artist talk. We're also going to have a community planting, either out at Te Hakari Wetlands or somewhere else. And then in the afternoon or later in the evening, we'll have the performance and the artist talk.
So is that an interactive dance installation film with do you encourage members of the public to join with you at some point?
No, but we could actually do a workshop. So the performance in the evening is essentially like audience will sit down and witness the performance. But we could actually run a dance workshop as part of the activities that run across the day.
I think that would be amazing if you did that.
Okay, it's a great idea. I'll add it in.
As if you haven't got enough to do, Delina.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else with a question? Yeah, Councillor.
Delina, thank you so much. You've got a mix of cultural, environmental, and it's really rich with the culture. Could you just clarify the Te Hakarai planting? Whereabouts is that located? I'm on the Friends of the River there, and we might be able to. We might be doing it too.
So the Te Hakari Wetlands Restoration Project is at the end of Kuku Beach Road. Just before you get to the beach on the left is a big wetland restoration project that's now I think it's in about its 20th year of restoration. So we've done some of our filming there. But I've been talking to Hannah Smith about a community planting or a pā harakeke cleanup or whatever is kind of needed that kind of aligns with the work that she's doing or the local iwi or the local awa groups are doing. And I think it's kind of probably I'd like to do something that is needed from the community rather than me just turning up and being like, hey, I'm going to plant some harakeke in your backyard. So I'll be working with local groups around where's the appropriate place to do that planting.
Oh, thanks. That's really awesome. And you'll have about 50 to 100 people involved with that, won't you?
I hope so, yes.
I think you'll have most of the Otaki community behind you.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, 50 weavers you're hoping for, isn't it?
Alone?
Well, I've sort of, across the artist talk and the weaving workshop, I've sort of thought maybe 20 in the weaving workshop and maybe 30 at the artist talk. But usually when I do a performance, most of the audience stay behind afterwards for the artist talk, and I'm imagining I can have 80 to 100 people at the actual performance.
Yeah. Good. Patu.
Kia ora hoa, ko Patu Paere here, ahau. I firstly just want to give a big mihi to you because as a rangatahi Māori and as an artist and as someone who grew up in Otaki, this is just so inspiring to me. This is the first 20 out of 20 I've ever given. I wanted to also ask you about the people that you're going to be having in the weaving workshop. I was kind of under the impression from your application that you'd kind of be maybe almost personally as like a rōpū selecting like the people who will be attending that. And I was just wondering like how are you going to be deciding who gets to come?
Yeah, so no, I'm again talking with Hannah Smith about who's best to lead that weaving workshop, and at the moment she's recommended Briar Moffat, who's a Ngāti Tūkorihe weaving and healing artist based in Otaki. And no, it will be open to the public, so I won't be sort of shoulder tapping. It won't be a closed thing.
Okay.
We'll have an open call. I'll probably talk to Briar about whether it will be a drop-in thing, so it's sort of open over a few hours and anyone can drop in and out any time, or if she wants to have it where people need to register and sort of stay there for the full 2 hours, and at the end of that time, they walk away with a cornhole basket or something that they've woven. So I'll kind of be led by her as to what she thinks will work best, but it's closed. All of this I want to be experience. It's a real labour of love, this project for me.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Ngā mihi, thank you.
Any further questions? Talina, you've got a lot going on, haven't you, all at once. In a sense, you're weaving together a whole lot of different things. Seriously. And from wetland to planting to harvesting to weaving, there's lots of storytelling here. We know the Māoriland Hub, a fantastic venue. So congratulations on a good application, and we'll see how we go.
Many thanks. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye for now. Ka kite.
Wow, I was right. Right. So have we got Mr. Wood here?
Yep, and Aki back.
And Aki Baggett. Hello. Join us, Dennis.
Hi.
Bring your colleague. Shed project, no stranger to us.
Nice to see you all again.
Yes. Good. Pottery classes for the differently abled.
Yes. Which actually is an inclusion of anybody who might be disadvantaged in the community, which we work with. We're currently working with about 270.
Really?
But this particular application is what we're looking for is over the last 12 months, we've been funding a program for pottery, specifically aimed at youth who are struggling with anxiety and older people with dementia. We have funded it, as you might be aware, we lost quite a large funding last year from the Ministry of Heritage and Culture, which was funding that as a free service. That has now stopped 12 months ago, so we've continued on with the program, which is a highly successful program, which you might have a look, see the sort of work that these people are doing. But we have the main group that we're looking at is a group from Capital Training who work with youth who suffer anxiety and depression. So we've been running a program. Just recently we've had to put that program on hold due to the fact is that financially it's a little bit of a struggle. So that the program is that part of the program and the work that we do with dementia costs us about $6,000 a year, of which we ourselves are prepared to put half of that money into our own resources. According to the Ministry of Social Development, which we're working with also, the amount of younger people that have been coming on to a benefit situation has increased dramatically, mainly through things like depression and anxiety. And that's very much a market we've been working in for quite a number of years, not only with the disability, with mental health, but that's an area that's increasing at an exponential rate. I think Kapiti, with the Ministry of Social Development, has the highest percentage of younger people who are fitting into that category. We have, based on our philosophies, is that it's not necessarily about work, it's necessarily about giving people purpose, getting them out of bed, getting them a reason to actually do something, building confidence, and most of our programs, particularly the pottery program, has been very successful at doing that. From our part, we'd like to continue to support the work that we're already doing. Hopefully, it is an increasing number, so as our own business activities increase, we'll be able to afford to put more money into it to continue that service. I brought Aki along today because she's our pottery tutor, quite an amazing young lady in comparison. She's quite an amazing pottery tutor, and we've sort of given you a few examples of some of the work that the youth at Capital Training, and a reference from Capital Training to support the work that they do. So I'll just hand you over to Aki, who will sort of tell you a little bit more about her work. She has the hands-on contact. Aki, go for it.
Shall I?
You sit there.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. My name is Aki Bagot. I've been pottery tutor at the Shed Project Kapiti for the past 4 years. So I have a number of different levels classes. So the majority of my class is differently abled guys at the Shed. Also, I have a class of capital trainings and young children who's homeschooling. And also, I started gathering the group of 65 years old plus, kind of older people, population in Kapiti, as well as some of them has suffered from dementia and things like that, and who's looking for some sort of hands-on activities. So like Dennis said, I have been lucky enough to be working with the students from Capital Training in the past 4 years, and I have gone through more than 100 students from that organization. And I can tell lots of students from that group has come quite low self-esteem, and just most of them never had the opportunity to get involved in this kind of creative activities. So for most of them, at first they are reluctant to come to my class and then meet me and then start playing with clay. But I can quickly see them started to get really involved and then started to unleash their creativities. And it's a huge pleasure for me to see. And some of the students, not many students, but some of the students are really, really getting into pottery, and then they've been always be there. Some student never bothers to come back, but there's quite a few people who keeps coming back to my class because they find its creativity is really fun, and then they find huge satisfaction to see what they made, and then they can take it to home to show their parents. So I'm really keen to continue this class, working with those young students. We never really talk about their issues, but by seeing them every week at the same class, we loosely connect to each other, and then I'm really happy to kind of create that kind of space, neat little space for them to get together every week. So hopefully I can continue this work with them. And there's not many copies there, but there's some copies there that I can kind of happily share with you guys what we have been making. It's all quite fun, colorful, and some practical. Pottery is for everyone, really. There's really basic formulated pottery program that I can offer to disabled people, differently abled people, but also there is so much more for the creative side, and yeah, it's just lovely to look at, and we make lots of products to sell to support back to Shed Project as well. So yeah, I have been really enjoying working with them, and I can really see the potential for us to grow in these creative activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Aki. Before we get to questions, Dennis, we know you, but can you just talk to us for a couple of minutes about the Shed Project generally? Who you attract, who you help, what's it for?
The original concept of the Shed Project started in 2014, based on a model that I had a foster disabled daughter who we were transitioning into the real world of a vocational once she left education. I found that what was offered was not particularly good, and one of the targets that I actually saw was that we were having young males, in their 20s, who were, during the afternoons, and most of their time they were sort of watching kids' movies and things like that. So that's the original concept was I had a shed, so we took some of these young males and into a wood workshop, taught them a few skills, taught them how to cook barbecues, and actually worked with them as a thing. That started in 2014. We had, 1, 9, and then we just had to move out, and that's where we went to thing. We then, as over the years, we've changed the philosophy a little bit, and we've actually it's open to both genders nowadays. So we run a massive amount of programs, weaving classes, sewing classes, drama, woodworking, pottery, various arts programs, social enterprises programs where they earn their own income for the special little things that they want to do, like, I don't know, sort of couple of weeks ago, they spent the evening in the zoo and the day in the zoo.
It started with you, but it's nationwide now, isn't it?
Sorry?
Is it nationwide, the shed project, or is it just...
No, we're in here in Otaki.
Yes.
We have always avoided, we've asked to take it, it's been asked a number of times to take it to other communities, which I am not an advocate for doing, because if it isn't driven by its local community, it just becomes another big corporate that sort of gobbles up lots of money. And so I would always support a community that wanted to take the philosophy and use the philosophy, but for us to be involved in it as directly is not something we'd like to do, purely and simply that, for that reason, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of money, and you really do have to have passionate, driven people to make it work. Without the passion of somebody making it work, it doesn't work.
Yep. And we've supported you 4 times already.
Yep. Always appreciative of.
Absolutely. And this year you're asking for $3,000 of a $6,000 project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Questions for Dennis or Aki? Anybody? Rob?
Just a quick one. Aki, Dennis, hey, thank you. Thanks for your support of the Aotaki community too. It's really awesome.
Well, that's actually starting to increase now as well.
Yeah, just how obviously it's the friendly faces and the hands-on, Dennis. I can see your hands-on there with the pottery, is it?
No, that would be working in the workshop.
Oh, okay.
This morning.
How many? And okay, it's a tried and tested system now, and we're really proud to sort of be sponsoring it. How many young folk, or how many people attend the courses?
Do we work with?
Yeah, work with.
All in total, we work with in excess of 270.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, for something that was started off as just something working with a few males on a Friday afternoon, it's just...
That's wonderful. It's that's one-to-one as well, and it's just the personal contact and confidence inspiring. Oh, no, thank you very much. Yeah.
So you built this up from your own shed as an individual.
Yeah.
And you derive income from organisations like this and others like us. I mean, it sounds like quite a big, and I know it's not a business, but it sounds like quite a big business. And you're just gradually growing it over 10 years.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
The problem being is, well, not a problem. As we started getting going, the demand started to get bigger.
Yep.
And we got more and more people coming. We work with all the organisations, the 4 both the colleges, HOHEP, Capital Training. So we're a little bit, I don't know what the word is. We're a little bit sympathetic to, the community, is what the community needs are. And so we sort of drive ourselves to try to accommodate that.
How many of you are there?
Staff?
Yeah.
Not all full-timers, very few full-timers, but there's 13 staff in total. As with tutors and workshop staff and shop staff.
It's quite extraordinary, Dennis. It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Well, forgive me, what were you doing before this?
Before that, I was working property maintenance.
Right.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of property maintenance under an organisation that I had called One Stop Property Maintenance some years back.
Yeah. Michelle, did you have a question?
What kind of? the question is who's involved and who's the tutor. So it's so nice to meet you, Aki. Because you spoke well, and I just, that was my one comment. Who's, it's not clear who it is, now it is. So, I think if you're part of these beautiful images, I mean, wow, it's just stunning. So thank you. And I also reiterate what you're saying, Grant, that what you do, I mean, I think you've got some of my colleagues working in the drama areas.
Oh, okay.
So I completely applaud what you do. Completely.
Any more
We're
questions?
fortunate, we've got very good tutors.
Anna
must be
yeah,
Anna, yeah.
and Samara.
And Samara, yeah.
But you're fortunate you got good tutors, but they're there because of you.
That's right.
Any more questions for Dennis or Aki? Patu.
Okay. Thank you. Kia ora. Koroa. Ko Patu Paira here. Aho. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned about it not just being open to disabled people, but also disadvantaged people. And I was just wondering, like, what does disadvantage mean to you? And you also said that it was open to men and women, and I was just wondering if it's also open to gender diverse people.
Diverse people, neurodiverse, did you say?
Oh, gender diverse.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Cool.
I
Yeah.
have
We
a
do.
number of students who's coming from
Yeah.
capital training.
We probably have about half a dozen, I suppose, gender diverse.
Oh, cool. Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, disadvantage from our perspective, or my perspective in particular, is that's where places like capital training fit in, because they're youth who are suffering from, or who are experiencing anxiety issues, depression issues. Gender diverse, we don't have a problem with gender diverse.
Cool.
We have about 6. It's about 6, isn't it? Yeah. We have about 6 who come, a couple of times a week. Dementia, that's the thing that's sort of starting to become prevalent, with older people with dementia. So from my perspective, anybody who's challenged with mental health, we have the Performing Sound Minds Mental Health Band, who are now actual fact getting gigs and actually getting paid.
Oh, that's
which is good stuff.
Yeah, that's
great,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any more questions for Dennis?
Yep.
Nigel, there you go.
Yeah, I've actually seen participants who walking around the community, and self-esteem levels are significantly enhanced. Is that your experience through this?
Yeah, it's all based on, particularly, I have a firm belief if you give people purpose and you give them, so that's largely why we have such a diversity of programs, because somewhere somebody can fit into the shed. Yeah. We've got guys, you've got like Finn, he's running his own little one-man shows with kindergartens called Fantastic. He's not much good in he's an entertainer. He loves music, song, dance, that sort of stuff. He's useless in the woodshop workshop. He's not bad at pottery, is he?
Well, he's okay, but
But it's not.
everyone has superpower. I mean, honestly, I wish you can all see it. Like some of our guys who struggles daily lives, but once they start making 3D figures with clay, he completely makes something that in his mind. So, if I make something like, for example, Sonic, then I have to look up the, internet to get the details. But he's got all the details, and it's in 3D. So, like some of our guys, every one of them have very superpowers. I mean, it's just uneven. So,
It's just finding where they fit into the system, and what their creative. What triggers their creativity? So it can be dance, music, whatever.
You wish we could see it, but I think we can see quite a lot already, actually. Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. That's yours, Rafi.
Yes.
Sorry.
You finished now, have you?
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Oh, now the hard part.
Now,
Yeah.
so next on the program, we'll be breaking for lunch, I assume. And do you want to do number 7 now, before the break? We invite Narita Clark, Arts Event Coordinator, to introduce the report and invite committee to ask any questions before we go to public excluded. So we can do that now? Okay, away you go.
Might move along a little bit. Right, in this round, we received 18 applications, 16 of which are submitted for consideration. 2 applications were withdrawn. One was due to a change in project plan, and the other was because the applicant decided to postpone their project. The net figures for grant in this current round is the total available for grant funding is $30,518. Total amounts requested is $42,781, which exceeds the funds available for this round by $12,626. We have no funds returned in this round, and applications not available to speak to their applications are Music Festivals and Events, Chris Craddock, Wellington Integrated Dance, and that's Samara France-Fraser. Creative New Zealand stipulates that it's not mandatory for applicants to attend the meeting to speak to their applications. Because of this, the committee would treat all applications equally. Accountability reports from returning applicants. Successful applicants are required to return a project accountability report. We have 4 returning applicants who received funding from the previous 2 rounds. They are Bryony Rogers, application 108, Capity Women's Health Collective, application 109, Chloe Willets, application 116, and the Shed Project, Capity, application 125. We received project accountability report from all 4 applicants. The reports were sent to the committee for their perusal. The purpose of the Creative Community Scheme, as set out by Creative New Zealand, is to stimulate and provide support to arts and cultural activities that increase participation and increase the range and diversity of projects that make the arts more attractive and relevant to the various local communities. And that's my report for this round, and I welcome any questions that any of the committee have.
Any questions for Narita? The 4 reports you mentioned were emailed to us prior to the... Yep.
I'm so sorry, could you just repeat the last sentence or 2 that you read?
What, the purpose of the creative?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
of
thank
course.
you.
Right, the purpose of the Creative Community Scheme, as set out by Creative New Zealand, is to stimulate and provide support to arts and cultural activities that increase participation and increase the range and diversity of projects that make the art more attractive and relevant to the various local communities. Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. Grant's got me on the ignore button.
I'm sorry, pardon, Nigel?
Yeah. So the Smarty grants, have we got a collected, collated version of that in the numbers? So for those who responded with Smarty grants?
Yes.
Yeah. So have we got that as a... Because I've got here a copy of my own.
Yes.
But I haven't got...
Would you like to see all the...
Yeah.
All the other...
Well, not individually, but the aggregates.
Yes, it's a big document, but what I do have is a breakdown with your scores combined.
Yeah, that's all I'm...
That's
all I'm interested
Okay.
in. Yeah.
We'll arrange to...
Just in terms of, you know, the next steps.
Yes.
But
Okay.
that goes on screen, doesn't it?
Yeah, that goes on the screen, but I do have a sheet with how you all scored. I can copy that and give you all one if you need that for the deliberation.
That is actually quite helpful, thank you.
Right, I'll do
Well,
that.
it's for me. So,
Well,
yeah,
how big a document is it? Are we talking hundreds
The
of
one that
pages?
the one I'm going to give you is a
no, just to be a
summary.
page.
Okay, all right.
That's it.
It won't have the individual.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Nigel, I haven't got you on mute, but now that you mention it, no, I haven't.
By the way, if it's helpful, if you push the screen,
Yeah.
it'll give you an order of people requesting to speak.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. So the next job for me would be to move that we go into the public excluded, and according to my schedule here, we do that before we adjourn for lunch. So I now. Oh, is there no more questions for Narita? Is everybody happy? Yep. Okay. I move that pursuant to section 48 brackets 1 brackets A brackets I and section 7 brackets 2 brackets A privacy of natural persons and 7 brackets 2 brackets B brackets 2 commercial position in the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, this meeting move into a public excluded session. May I please have a seconder for the motion? Yes, Michelle, thank you. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. We now adjourn for lunch.
Beautiful, Marita.